Welcome to this educational video on the chunking method for division. It's designed for teachers and parents, and we're going to explore this strategy to help children to understand how to divide by larger numbers. Chunking is also known as the partial quotient method. It breaks down the division process into manageable parts or chunks, and it simplifies large division problems into a series of smaller, easier calculations. The reason I like it is because it enhances understanding. You use it before any other method of division like the bus stop because it's easier to understand what's going on. I'm going to give you an example. Well, let's start with an extremely easy example of 12 divided by 4. This is kind of a trivial example, but I'll show it first. What we need to do is we need to take 4 away from 12 and see how many times we can do it. So what we can do is we can say, well, if I subtract one lot of 4, let's do it like this. If I subtract one lot of 4 from 12, 12 take away 4 equals 8. I've done it once. If I did it a second time, I'm just going to write this out formally, it's a bit weird, but you'll see why I'm doing it in a minute. If I then take 4 away from 8, and then I do it one more time, I take 4 away from 4, and I'm done. And I have a look and I see that I've done it 3 times. So that means that 12 divided by 4 equals 3, because I can take 4 away from 12 3 times. This is not the method of division where you are sharing things, one for you, one for me, one for my friend. It's where you're doing repeated subtraction. Okay, so that's a trivial example. I'm going to go on to a more formal example in a moment. Okay, so let's move on to bigger examples. 1,442 divided by 3, and we're going to use the chunking method to do this. So what we're going to do is, instead of taking 3 away over and over and over again, we're going to take huge chunks of it. I know that 3 times 500 equals 1,500. And if I take 1,500 from 1,542, I'm nearly there already. So let's do that. 1,542, take away the 500, leaves me 42. So let me have a little think. Well, I know that 3 times 10 is equal to 30. So now let's take the 30 away from that 42. And what am I left with? I could do that one in my head. I'm left with 12. And I know that 3 times 4 is equal to 12. And I've dealt with them all. So how many times have I taken 3 away? Well, I'm going to circle them, and I recommend that you get children to circle them to make sure that you add up the right things. I'm going to take away 3 514 times. So 1,542 divided by 3 must be 514. Done. Let's try a harder example. I'm going to divide 442 by 13. You will note that 13 is a 2-digit number, and also it's a prime number. So the only other method to use would be formal long division, and I'm just going to show you the chunking method, and I think it's easier than long division. So what I'm going to do is I want to see how many times I can take 13 away from 442. I know 13 times 2 is 26, which means I know that 13 times 20, I'm going to circle it, must be 260. Now, if I take 260 from 442, 14 minus 6, 8. I'm left with 182. And I know that 13 times 10 equals 130. So let's take 130 away from the 182. And what do I get? 2 minus 0 is 2. 8 minus 3 is 5. I'm left with 52. If I double 13, I get 26. And if I double 26, I get 52, which means that 13 times 4 equals 52, and I'm done. So 442 divided by 13 must be equals 34. And that's what's nice about the chunking method, is you can use it for single digits, but you can also use it for 2-digit numbers. And it really emphasises that division can be thought of as repeated subtraction. It is slightly messier. You can see I've got a lot of calculations on the page. So it is, in a way, it can be easier to make a mistake. But I would recommend that you start with this method. Make sure that children fully understand it. Then you can move on to bus stop method if you want to, which is a more efficient, sleeker method. But that should only be for children who already understand this, because children, if a child never understands bus stop but can do chunking, well, they can do division. That's the key thing. And bus stop method, it doesn't emphasize the repeated subtraction, the fact that division is the inverse of multiplication. So this is a really good method to get children started on.